All right, it is a few minutes after 6:04, and I will now call to order the December 8th, 2014 meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. The meeting is being recorded. We have very few items on our agenda, and so we're going to skip straight to updates.
Okay.
That was a big skip.
It is,
Wow.
right down to item 7.
Nothing on items
Yeah.
under 6 other
We
than
never
placeholders.
heard anything about them marking that area for that shed.
Right, so I never went out there and looked.
Right, so, and they're on a monthly update now. So we won't be getting weekly reports, but we should be due sooner than later for a monthly update. Pleasant Street Mills, Jess gave us an update last time, I don't know. She'll be here if she can make it by the time her other meeting ends.
Okay.
Got updated stormwater reports, a
Mhm.
whole slew of them for the city's Glendale, Loudville, West Palmer, Meadow intersection and roadway reconstruction project.
Actually, can you send me those right now? I didn't see them. I didn't see the, I don't think. I printed out everything I saw.
Did he just send them to me?
He might have,
He just
because
sent them to
I
me, so
just,
I will forward.
because I got Cottage Square Apartments, I got a slew of them, and
Yeah.
I got, Tuscomic, that's all I got. Okay, so we did get them.
Okay, so I put a note to forward them. The updates on 15 Cottage Street, just the weekly reports.
Yep, weekly reports were submitted, they're over there, if anyone likes to read them.
We've gotten updates on Nashwanik Pond, and I had to ask that they be sent to conservation as well.
Right, that's.
I think I forwarded
Oh.
one, and then,
That's the
Jeff-
Cottage Square,
Cottage
for the
Square.
National Pond
Yeah.
of this, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I thought I was looking at something else.
So, no response from Terry Smith about the Oxbow. Nothing beyond the site inspection at Brickyard Brook,
I haven't
right?
been able to see if they're done. They said they're gonna start.
I think there was a report,
Right,
there was
okay,
no,
yeah, okay.
no problems. And then 19 River Street, James LeGrand, Jay was out there.
No, wait,
this
what, hold on,
afternoon.
hold on. What were we saying about this?
No problems?
No problems, okay, but they've started, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we know they've started.
Yeah,
Okay.
they got stuck with the bad timing.
Yeah. Looks like they found some gaps in the pipes.
Shocking.
All right. Yep. Okay, all right. Caught up.
It's really not that slow, I haven't taken a look at minutes yet, because we're flying through this, but
Sorry.
I'll just make it
I'm a
up
little
as we
slow,
go.
though, but that's
Well,
right.
there's really not much to do.
Okay, James LeGrand,
James LeGrand installed his erosion control
He's all
today.
set up.
so you did meet with him?
I did meet with him today, 3 o'clock. He's got his DEP file number posted and his stuff is in good shape. It's all stamped down.
And that's it for compliance updates. That's me. General business. We received a draft O&M plan from the Management Rail Trail Committee. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I can forward that around. Remember
I feel like I saw
did it go
it did,
around?
yeah, it did
Okay,
go around.
I can't remember if it's forwarded and doesn't. So we were on for the RDA for their application to. So
Remove
this is
trees.
yes,
And
Right.
only remove trees.
right, not actually repair the damaged.
Damaged pavement.
Right.
Right.
Right. So there's.
Where is this?
This is down. This particular instance is down by Williston. So from Payson Ave, you go
Okay.
south,
South.
southerly toward,
Yes.
Hmm.
before you get to the pond crossings.
Okay, this is new to me, maybe I missed this meeting.
So basically, the trees growing along the bike path, the roots have caused damage to the pavement. So the Rail Trail Committee filed an RDA to remove the trees. Except that's
Okay.
all they filed an RDA for, and so because there's no ongoing O&M plan that was approved as part of the order of conditions,
Yeah.
the whole thing, they have to file for permission to actually repair the root damage.
Gotcha.
So there was a disconnect on those two
Okay.
pieces. And so that prompted the discussion of, if there is no existing O&M plan for the rail trail, then there should be. And
Okay, so they
so
submitted an O&M plan?
so they've given us, not submitted, well, not as an application, but the O&M plan, depending on the scope, would have to be a permit.
Mhm.
So we've got the next step. So
Which
we'll-
is?
To look at,
So look at the draft plan?
Yeah, and
Is
give
it a draft
feedback.
or is it okay?
yes, and give feedback.
Did you guys look at it now? Do you want to know, so it's a list of all the things that need to be done and who's gonna do them.
I think
Okay.
It's many pages.
yeah,
You know, so.
it should be general. It should be like it should be it should be an operation
Oh, yeah,
maintenance
yeah,
plan.
yeah, like,
Okay.
like trimming along the edges
Okay.
and remarking and picking up litter and,
Okay.
it's, you know, for picking up and emptying the bins, the trash receptacles that are at various edges and, you know, adjoining businesses will do that.
I did read this, yeah. It was like, this is so becoming familiar now.
Keep talking.
I've read this and everything.
I read and then I started to skim. 'Cause it's
Hmm. But it was a good.
It was
overall plan.
such a good read.
quite
Detailed.
lengthy. They had like 17 different kinds of tasks. that-
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, it should,
Do they involve things that we actually permit?
like emptying trash
No.
bins,
Not really.
trimming vegetation,
Trimming vegetation,
you know, trimming vegetation,
Yeah.
vegetation management, that's.
It's a lot about like
signage.
specific areas, like the,
Green
It should
pavement.
include,
Should include like the washout kind of thing,
It
so
should
they can just fix
include-
those. and
right,
then-
right.
that's,
I don't
you
know
know.
if I
Take a
saw
look
that.
at it and-
I mean, it included like, you know, that little park next to the bagel shop, you know, like who's gonna
Mhm.
maintain that area? Who's
Well, it
gonna
should be for
maintain-
the whole trail,
Right.
it shouldn't just be for,
Right, well, I was gonna say, it's all through
if it's gonna be
things.
helpful to them, as well as us.
Okay,
So,
I think they'll need to add things.
yeah, we can make recommendations about types of maintenance that should be added. So, Orchowski parcel. Went out there.
Not there.
We went out there the day after Thanksgiving.
okay.
And
It's not a tree stand.
Who went,
Yeah.
the Kraus family and the Cody family.
And the Foodie family?
Cody.
Cody.
That would be.
The Kraft family?
No,
Kraus.
my
Kraus,
family.
sorry, I saw, you know, I heard Kraft
What
family and Foodie
excitement.
family.
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
I am so hungry, actually.
It's very hard to take minutes and keep track of what's going on around
It
here.
is.
Exactly, when your stomach is eating itself. All right, so visit the site, day of Thanksgiving,
yeah.
okay?
I wish we had some of those maps, because we definitely went to the right-hand section, like we didn't get into the heavily damaged.
Right,
areas.
we started to hit some damage, but then the trail we were on went back down toward Hendrick Street.
Yeah.
Did you get to the pond thing?
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
Gotcha.
We took so you know, you cross the little river,
Mhm.
and then you kind of go up, and then you can cross the creek to the right.
Maybe
Creek? Intermittent,
The creek.
no, the,
the crawfish.
the always come in mind.
Sorry.
Water by.
There you go.
Anyway, that way,
All
yeah.
right. So like, was that the one that goes up like the property line?
I think
It
it
wasn't marked.
Yeah, they're not really labeled or anything.
Like, property lines are not easily discernible in there. At least they weren't
No, the map,
In
sure.
the snow.
with snow cover, and
Yeah.
I didn't.
There were definitely places, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what places we went on. Were they blue triangles?
Yeah. It seems like the damage though is
Higher up.
higher up and
Yeah.
it's not,
It's all-
like when I went out there, it wasn't as widespread as I was expecting. So
Oh,
I guess
really?
that's
But
Good.
access is gonna be a significant issue.
what do you mean?
Getting
do anything
there-
about it, you mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you might be able to, whoever does it might be able to cut up whatever's blocking the trail into manageable pieces and then move it to the side, but it's not coming, I mean,
Mhm.
it's really not coming out of there by manpower.
Draft horses.
Yeah.
Don't put that in my face.
Sorry.
But seriously, these are narrow trails, it's a narrow,
Single track.
it's single track mountain bike trails, so you're not gonna get equipment in there without doing major damage. And there was talk about rerouting some of the trails. So,
Yeah.
maybe invite Rich Lombard back.
He was gonna try to look at some maps, right?
Yeah.
Try to put something together.
I never got anything.
Didn't see it.
I haven't seen anything either, no.
So,
So,
Were you able to ask anybody about the GPS files?
okay, so the actions are still,
Oh, you guys actually.
Rachel Baumgart.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Russ had them, and so we sent,
were they struggling?
yeah, they were from a Garmin, or
Okay.
GPX is the
Okay.
file type, GPX.
I'll look at it, if you give me a copy of it, I'll look at it.
Oh, okay, we'll forward them all that we sent to
Okay.
Melissa.
You don't want to
So-
go up as a text file, you can almost anything.
Right.
Yeah.
One
Thank
can
you.
do almost anything with them.
Sorry.
Not
I
necessarily.
cannot do anything.
Yeah.
okay, so basically for the minutes that you traveled part of the trails where the microburst damage occurred, but the actions are still the same. Rachel Bombard, with help from the city, will map the damaged area, the existing impacted trails, and possibly map a proposed trail around the damaged area. The commission will submit this map to natural heritage. and
No,
determine
the
the next
commission will
steps.
not. Or someone will. Maybe the commission will, maybe the city planning department will.
Okay, the city will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we could file natural heritage, but it's just an odd situation when,
We're asking ourselves for a permit.
right, which I guess we did for
Yeah.
Echo Dale.
And other towns that have like dams and stuff, that the conservation commission owns do it too. I've talked to Mark Stinson about it before, and there's no, you can do it.
There's just no good way around it.
Yeah.
We did talk about perhaps the planning department being the point of contact for the city,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
So Echo Dale West, no progress scheduling a site visit. Not a top priority.
It's the black hole orchard of ideas and.
This is the time to
ambitious
go,
plans.
though, so we can actually get around with the brush off.
I did run into Russell from Park Hill Orchard. He mentioned, he hadn't heard anything, but I mentioned it to him and he would be open to going to that site visit.
Cool.
Just need to schedule it. So let's do meeting minutes approval and then talk about stuff that has come up in the meantime.
All right.
Oh, that's okay.
Thank you.
Yep, yep.
I feel like, you know, Ray on Car Talk, you know, who always forgot last week's puzzler.
You don't feel too much like him.
Well, he's dead now.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
His brother was quoted as saying, "Turns out he really did forget last week's
I know.
puzzler."
Oh.
That's sad, but funny.
Right.
Oh, that's what happened at the meeting.
Right?
All right.
Okay. Speed reader?
I move to approve the minutes from the November 24th.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, correspondence, I think we all got a copy of the forest cutting plan from DCR.
Yes.
Yep.
And basically, if they have an approved cutting plan under the Wetlands Protection Act, then it's exempt if it's for commercial purposes.
We talked about this last time.
Yeah,
Cool.
but it's just, I wish Jess were here, maybe we should stall. Just move on to different, table it for other topics.
Yeah, because we actually said we were gonna have an official response by this meeting.
We don't. Well, we can, but, I mean, that's one of the biggest questions I have. And then the other one is as it relates to the city's concerns about public safety on Mountain Road with apparently, so the concerns are that damage from the microburst might exacerbate soil conditions and result in landslides or rocky debris or woody debris falling onto the road and causing a major problem on Mountain Road. I'm not clear on what impact this will have on the soil structure because they were removing, in my mind, removing the stumps would have a greater impact than not removing, than just leaving it as it is.
Should stay.
Greater negative impact.
Right,
Yeah.
adverse, yes. And, I mean, the trees, yeah, they lost their tops, but their stumps aren't gonna rot that quickly. It's gonna take,
And some of them are
Some are pulled out
20
around too.
Well, right, there's those, but there's also those that broke off, 20 feet, 40 feet up in the air.
yeah,
Those are gonna last quite a while.
yeah,
Well, the new growth comes in.
right. And the ground surface, I mean, the vegetative community and the understory is gonna change completely because there's no canopy shading it.
But this is for removal. Is this forest cutting necessarily, or is it removing all of the trees that are already cut trees off the site?
It's not clear to me.
That's my question as well, because it sounds like they're just doing it on a narrow corridor along the road. I mean, they have it marked out.
This,
Right.
I think the city's concern is the slope.
Or is it still the trees that are still kind of, but I don't know why they need a forest cutting plan, it's just still the trees that are still, falling over.
You're saying all down material within 100 feet of Christopher Clark Road,
Is it that what it is? So they're
So it
just
has
cutting
almost
it.
nothing to do with
the
the
hillside.
concerns about the slope above.
No, because really,
Road.
well, they've already cut all the trees out of the roadway, so they can get access along the roadway, so this is clearing the road trees.
This is cleanup.
within 100 feet, yeah, it's cleanup in the 100-foot zone.
Who's the, do we have a DCR contact on this? We've got plan preparers. It says DCR, but it doesn't have a,
We can certainly take, I mean, I can certainly.
is this where we talked about calling Rich Brazo?
You said you would review the forest cutting plan, and subject areas with regard to Wetland Protection Act forestry exemption. That's all you actually said that would happen, then we have a response.
Who approved the forest cutting plan? That needs to be a blue forest cutting plan.
DCR.
Yeah. So it's like,
So
what we just finished talking about.
are they filing with themselves and just letting us know?
It's different department, yes, yeah, so basically, I guess the thing that I would want to clarify is how this fits into the exemption. They talked about using filter strips, but then they include information about a natural heritage site visit,
So Betty already certifies that.
plant buffer, buffer double flagged, restrictions include no dragging, no machinery within that buffer, adjacent trees slated for removal directionally felt away from the buffer. So that's just a means
And
and
this is
methods.
just to take out the
like-
trees, or to cut and remove the trees, it's not to repair any of the channels that have been,
Then it doesn't talk about, that's just a forest cutting plan. So they talk about, oh, this is the certificate, so. Director's agent. So the question is, do we think this meets the exemption?
I don't have any idea.
Is there a deadline that we have to correct on this?
Well, we gave ourselves a December 8th. tonight's meeting, but I don't know if
We
that's,
can email after the meeting.
Could write an email now, so we don't have anything else to do tonight.
Can you draft it? Can you
Oh, I can draft an email.
draft the text?
Sure. Absolutely.
So is there a deadline where we need to get comments by?
Sign, oh,
Go.
I don't know. Yeah.
did, yeah, I mean, they give you rates that are set by the DPW annually or something like that. Otherwise, you're gonna have to. And I don't know if you're gonna have to go through a public hearing, I just don't to.
Okay.
Right, I mean, you're gonna have to do it every year.
Draft email to Rich Brazo at DCR.
BRAZDO.
No, BRAZEAU.
Send that to us? Do we have a person?
Jessica.
No, you could do it.
The DCR, Western Region Office.
No,
Yeah.
Mail copy.
it looks like my little brother's handwriting when he was in 3rd grade.
Hey, well.
He said on camera.
Not everyone's as perfect as you.
There's also the signature that could be like,
Millie Vanilli.
it could be, or
No.
Jillian M.
It's,
N.
mm,
Not helpful, I guess.
I don't know who that is.
Management of
It's-
forestry.
Millie should be a
Supervisor.
Jessica. Is it a Jessica? No, it's not a Jessica. Alright, let's start typing, start.
Sorry.
To prevent that concern. We already
Here,
received it.
of the forest cutting plan for,
Oh, Michael Giriak.
yeah, those are both for foresters.
Yeah.
Of the forest cutting plan.
For
Christopher Clark Road.
Christopher Clark Road,
And the Mount Tom.
State Park.
Where's it? State Reservation.
No, is it a reservation or? Christopher Clark Road.
Doesn't matter.
Please clarify how the proposed harvest of down/broken/damaged trees resulting from the October 2014 microburst.
It's right here.
October, what is it again?
2014.
2014, okay, microburst. Yep.
Meets the exemption set forth in the Wetlands Protection Act.
In the wetlands regulations. We are assuming, yeah, I'm gonna just send this to you an email and you can print it out. To Rich Brezzo at DCR, to whom may concern, we are in receipt of the forest cutting plan for Christopher Clark Road in the Mount Tom State Park, State Reservation, I'll confirm that. Please clarify how the proposed harvest of down/broken/damaged trees resulting from the October 2014 microburst meets the exemptions set forth in the Wetlands Protection Act regulations. Okay.
So that's.
So that's-
Would it be more specific? The agricultural exemptions.
I can look it up once I have the rights in front of me. 310 CMR 10.04. No, they don't do that, because then they throw all these exemptions into the definition of agriculture.
I don't know all the details yet until.
So what I'm saying is if they have a letter.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Okay, so commission,
Okay. You received a you're looking at a different one. Sorry, I mean, this is the postmark December 5th. This is to last Friday.
November 21st. It's like of the same areas.
It's, no, it's, I think the second one is the approved.
Oh,
So, but we can, it doesn't matter, we can still ask the question of DCR,
yeah.
how, please tell us how your activity meets the exemption.
We have that as an option.
Right.
Well, but they don't pay it.
Okay,
But the stick here is that they have to pay it before you're gonna access the street, right? So I mean, if we're not gonna accept, if they don't pay it, we don't accept it, right? And they're,
Right.
we're gonna get that's kind of the practice. But it's gotta be before we accept it.
okay, next. Any other business matters? So,
I have others, Dave. Okay, go ahead. I just have some that, after you're done.
Oh, he's quitting.
no, you're not.
So there was something Yes.
No, I just
All right.
have emails that I'm printing off.
311, so regarding 311 East Street, this is the Mount Tom Estates former, is that what they call themselves? What do they call themselves now?
It's definitely not in their interest.
Don't know.
What do they call themselves now?
I mean, I'm just noticing.
But this is the former West Coolidge project.
Talk about how we
Mhm.
would do that.
So the 55 plus condos. One of the contractors, Bob, at Robert Thomas Construction, forwarded an email from a surveyor saying that he received the foundation plan for East Street Units 3 and 4. Layout you requested in reviewing the foundation plan dimensions versus the proposed approved plans. I noticed the foundation dimension
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
is 52 feet wide by 40 feet deep, while the proposed unit was 48 feet wide by 40 feet deep. So there's a 4-foot discrepancy,
Mhm.
and those units are entirely within the buffer zone. So when you pull in off East Street, there's the first unit very close to the stream
Mhm.
at East Street, and then there are the 2 units right behind that. I think that was the foundation we issued an emergency certification for the repair of, because it had been left open and there were some cracks in the concrete. So then the question is, the question for the current developers
This
is,
is where
um,
Jess had a couple of notes and we had a couple of.
what is this potential change that you need? And then it would be to the commission to determine if it's significant enough to warrant amended order, or, 4 feet off the front versus 4 feet off the back. One of the significant things when this was originally permitted was maintaining the no disturb zone.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that became most contentious with the addition of decks onto the back without permission, things of that nature. So,
Is this built? This is already built, though, right? This is not just a foundation at this point.
I don't know what they're asking at this point. So what I relayed to Jessica was any modifications to these units in the buffer zone is subject to Conservation Commission jurisdiction, and they need to come in and talk about what the difference is and what's changed, or what they hope to change.
Yep. So did somebody respond to them already?
Jessica.
Okay.
You're not deliberating. you're
So they will.
They emailed Jessica directly, and she forwarded it to
Gotcha.
So the owner of the contractor will be coming to them.
has been advised that they need to present the information to the Conservation Commission, either as a request for amended order of conditions, or informally for the commission to determine if the change is significant enough for a request for amended order of conditions.
And then these files,
Use the same
That
material.
is the same, yeah.
So there may be a modification to one of the units that is within the buffer zone. The owner has been advised that they need to present this modification to the Conservation Commission to determine if the change is significant enough for amended order conditions, or if they need to submit something entirely different, or.
So the options are, because it's buffer zone, it would either be a request for amended order of conditions,
Right.
or we determine officially in our minutes that the change is insignificant
Okay.
and will not compromise the interests of the act, and blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha. Okay.
The next thing is with regard to the Treehouse development. An area off Button Road. This aerial is old because it doesn't show existing conditions. This was marked up by the neighbor at One River Valley Way who sent the commission an email, basically saying my backyard neighbor's conservation land, abuts conservation land. In the last couple of months, I've seen a few times mowing on I'm reading this verbatim, on an area where I'm not sure if it's allowed or not. I'm attaching a picture with the area circled where I saw this happening. So what I think this is, I believe this is my placeholder, based on, so this was, the Treehouse Project required permanent monumentation in riverfront areas. Monumentation, so boundary markers. Basically, a lot of this was some of this was in riverfront area, and the way riverfront area works is your project's allowed 5,000 square feet or 10% of the riverfront area on the lot, whichever's greater, for the most part, provided you meet certain standards, and one of them is usually 100 feet of undisturbed vegetation. And
And then
one of the conditions of the permit for this project was placing permanent markers at these limits and then placing a note in the deed, some sort of deed restriction, informing theoretically property owners of that restriction and what those monuments mean. And there have been minor problems here and there, but nothing horribly significant. But looking at, so these are some 2013 requests for certificate of compliance for this area, including, I think, and they have plans in them that show the permanent, where the permanent monumentation is supposed to be, and why can't I find it? It's the deed restriction.
It's,
The thing.
They're
So,
checked out some of those too, some of them are in place.
so I guess the thing that we need to do is, I think this might be, so this is Button Road, I guess, can we pull down the,
Trying to see where current picture.
yeah, that's the one that she had. So I think she's talking about this area. And that's supposed to be, I think, the detention basin.
yeah, it's situation.
Yeah, so, yeah, so I think,
And I feel like we could
help with that plan show the detention basin.
So it appears that he may be more than the Marquee.
Actually, that
detention
is
basin.
down here maybe. That's those two. So I need the other side of the street. I mean, River Valley Way, House One. Okay.
That's the person who sent the message, right? It's on River Valley.
Okay, yeah. I just need to see. Tall person? I stood on a chair before, so those are, yeah, I don't know, these are the treehouse plans, but I don't know that they show, so I think this is, so this is Button, this is River Valley Way, that's one River Valley Way, and this is the detention basin. So we need to pull the box of plans down, and
Where is Button again?
this is Button, roadway A.
This house, that house, those two.
This was not really
Oh, wait,
done.
his yard essentially.
What I'm wondering is if this row of shrubs, you know, that they're gonna have to mow the detention basin in order for it to function.
Right? I
And
see you're saying.
then there's this flag lot here. I'm not clear. Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. I meant this. This one. I know. So we want oh, that's rail trail.
Well, actually, it's tree.
This is Treehouse. This is first draft.
Oh, so actually this is like this.
What I want to find is a set of plans. This is rail trail. That's like, yeah, rail trail. Well, what I can do. I can't find it in here. Sorry, Jake. Put that on the little thing. I can always email Ann Martin and ask her to send a copy of the final, a PDF of the final approved plans that show where monumentation was required. And, go from there.
Did we not see, Mr. DeRoy, that the monumentation is out there?
There are some places that it's out there.
But we don't know for sure if this is one of them.
Right. Well, not to certain houses to check.
I see.
They've taken the certificates of compliance, the requests for certificates of compliance have come in as necessary, as right to release.
And this loops, the end road ends up looping back, right?
Yeah.
Leaves it.
Oh. Recorded.
Yeah, like that.
This is just, doesn't show permanent monumentation, where permanent monumentation was required.
Is it all kind of public development?
These are kind of in here chronologically at this point, so if you take them out, you have them back.
My sticky fingers off it.
These are our procedures and this is what we're.
Only, there's a, you're welcome to come up for this if you want, it's truly fascinating. In a truly boring way. So none of us were around when this was first permitted, and we're only on the tail end of houses being built and, basically, they've been very good, the developer and the builders have been very good about complying with the order of conditions. But as properties have changed hands, which has happened, the details, I think that was shown as limit work, but that could also be, I think that was like a
I think the
silver.
house that I went to, the
Yeah,
house that I went to where they
sedimentation
were.
control, limit of work.
They weren't that close together, the markers weren't that close together.
Yeah, no, that's their silt fence line type. So I think I can forward that email to Ian Martin and Darcy Jameson, and they should have enough invested in the project still to provide. Yeah, because now I'm getting back into the development notice. But we can mention it before.
Melissa Cody does.
Okay, Melissa Cody.
Did not mean for that. But I wouldn't do that today.
She rests on my issues, I don't know.
I'm still reading myself my to-do list.
It's in here too.
Helps. Girl from Ipanema? Right.
Sure.
What is it anyway? Doesn't know.
Pamela. Of course
I'm not even
not.
sure if I speak the
Where's
same
Panama
language you
anyway?
guys are speaking right now.
Panama Southern Market?
No.
The Panama
Bankhead in
Canal.
Shea.
Oh, Panama Canal, yeah, I got it. Thanks. I hate geography.
That was a
It's the
civil
worst.
engineering feat.
Geography?
No.
That's true. I blame hunger, I blame
How
hunger.
did we start talking about Panama? I was right
You were
here.
whistling the girl from Ipanema. All right, where were we?
We are so.
Correspondence.
There's really nothing.
So you're gonna go.
We received and will file a copy of the easement to Mr. LeGrand from the city for his connection to his leaching field to exist.
Come back and I guess bring
To a
the city
public way, but that's-
as a package that has
I mean,
everything.
that's, I'm glad we got a copy, but,
Not very efficient for somebody in a way though, because you think about it.
so probably should be. Anyway, so with that, is there anything else from
They
commission
could be doing
members?
things.
We did get a piece of mail last week that I elected to read about grant opportunities, $250 to assist us in work informing landowners about land conservation and land stewardship opportunities. That's one.
If that grant money still exists.
Oh, right.
What's the date of that?
November 11th.
It probably got cut.
And they're also having an open space committee conference and would like to find out the kinds of workshops or trainings that would be helpful for us as their team members for 2015.
How'd you get an agent?
So if we wanted to get in touch with them, there's soon about that, there's a flyer.
Okay. Would you like to spearhead that contact?
Sure.
And copy the conservation grant
I don't think
email address and-
Sure. And say we would be interested in.
Is this grant money still available?
Oh,
And
yeah.
first and foremost, is grant money still available? And then topics would be,
I mean, when this is done, it will be the applicant's guide that will kind
How'd
of
you get
go
the
down the list.
Obtaining or.
Right, and some people may be more
Where to
efficient than
find it?
others, but they know and they have it all. under
Mapping,
control.
like so we can get some sort of GIS mapping or.
yeah, or just
When it's
basic
all completed, I mean, I
habitat.
guess once
Do you know anything about habitat management?
it's just city council that signs off.
Habitat
So
management.
once they have their full
Land-
package.
Land management for specific purposes such as
then it's gonna be, you know,
wildlife habitat.
They will
I don't think we're
So I'm just
gonna be
thinking.
managing a woodlot or anything like that, but
Spatially, but, so maybe there's a sheet that says.
I got rid of those
planning
ones,
board,
sorry.
it's got all the things that they need to planning board, and then there's another sheet that says DPW, and then it's all the things in the boxes, right? So there's.
So you're not going,
So-
not requesting dates, the plans.
That's good.
Topics we'd be interested in.
Awesome.
trail development is gonna be another one.
Yeah, I totally.
By department.
I mean, that kind of goes with
So there's an application.
mapping.
Yeah, mapping and maintenance.
Inventory, I guess inventory, property inventory.
Guidelines.
Done that already, haven't we? Is that
Well, we
on
have
sketch
the, but I guess I just mean on the parcel scale, what the
Yeah.
land actually consists of.
A little more we're supposed to do. Have done.
Yeah, that was all supposed to be, when there's a CR, it's supposed to be like an existing conditions survey.
They're gonna be on.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you want to come up, have a seat, tell us about yourself?
Just to overview who I am.
Yeah.
So my name is Jessica again, and I'm actually an elementary school teacher. But my interest in this goes back to I studied geology and biology in college, and I've done a lot of trail work. So I've done probably 10 years of trail work, and I worked for the AmeriCorps program that's out in Holly that does trail work in all the parks in Massachusetts and mostly contracts with DCR. So I missed that piece of my life of doing trail work, and then also I'm just really interested in environmental type things. So as far as expertise related to this, it's really just designing trails and having a sense of the.
So, I mean, that's a huge gap.
Yeah.
It's an understatement.
the planning board,
Just
right,
haven't
the planning board
focused
can't
on
meet
that.
tonight.
So do you know the responsibilities of conservation commissions in general? Every town has one. They implement the Wetlands Protection Act and at whatever local bylaw or ordinance there may be. We don't have one at the present time. But basically, we implement a state level regulation and issue permits, and there are timelines associated with that, public hearing requirements. And so that workload has essentially trumped all the other more interesting things we could be doing, like conservation land management. And so in the past year, we've taken a huge step forward where we basically, well, in the process of updating our open space and recreation plan, have a list of all the conservation properties that the Conservation Commission is responsible for in town, which is something we didn't have before. But we also have next to no improvements on those properties. And so that is definitely a big interest in
But I like the idea of
improving that, and it sounds like you have,
like organizing
yeah.
by department.
So, it'd be great if you're interested. We meet twice a month. We're allowed up to 7 members.
Well, yeah, so when you bring your
Another gentleman
application,
just, I believe he
now when you turn
was
it
going to
in,
apply
yeah,
for seat number 6.
$150.
And so that would leave a seat open, and that would be great. The flip side of it, and I'm not trying to scare you away, is that with 7 seats occupied, we need 5 members present. Well, 4, but 4 doesn't give us a
Majority.
Yeah.
Figure out what that.
So we need 4 or 5 people for every, I never did quorum versus quantum vote.
Can you please go over this for the slow people in the group?
So the bigger your group, the more people.
The more people you need to show up.
Of course. The more options you have.
That's so it's not just one more than half. If you have 7, you need 5.
Well, what's half of 7? 3.5.
3.5.
So we need 4.5 people, which you wrapped up.
You need 4.5 people, or can you just, can it just
I
be
mean, how
4
can you
It
people?
doesn't matter, because then 2 people don't have to be there. I mean, right now, you only,
Right,
doesn't, I mean,
It's-
2 people don't come now, we can't meet, so.
right.
I mean, how many people do we need now with 5 people? Do we really need
Just going to city council to go down the checklist, and if something isn't there, then.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I guess another complicating factor is Dan and I both work for the same employer. And he didn't when he started, okay?
Well, my wife did, so it was the same thing anyways.
Not as bad. So conflict of interest law, perception of conflict of interest. If
Well-
our employer submits something.
Yeah, we both work for the same employer that works
Does civil
in
engineering work.
Does civil engineering and the law and stuff.
Not that I'm bitter because I'm a competitor and can't get work here, but whatever.
So that means you can't vote on.
We
something.
leave the room,
Neither of us,
we just
yeah.
leave the room entirely. That's,
I think that's right.
Yeah.
it comes up once in a while, it came
Yeah,
up last
occasionally.
meeting. But at the present time, there's not a whole lot.
Right. Going on right now.
Mr. Bitter.
I know, I'm angry. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
Teasing.
you got shut, I don't wanna hear it.
Right, so in that sense,
That's
it
true.
will eliminate a lot of that
So,
stuff.
he doesn't cheer.
Yeah, one of my colleagues, we stole from her. He's awesome.
He is awesome, he's a great guy. So, we clearly don't take ourselves too seriously most of the time, unless we have
a
to.
really good time.
And what, besides attending meetings, what other duties are?
Site visits as necessary. We usually try to schedule them where we can go as a group. And so it's usually a Saturday or Sunday morning.
In the darker hours, but if we have
Yeah.
like during the summertime, when it stays later, we can do them after our meeting or even before our
You'll
meeting.
send, you'll send us.
Yeah, it depends on the timing of it, or just an evening in general, which is nice, but yeah, now we're dealing with really short days.
Right, so we
But
can,
also
like,
really short attendance.
Right, you know,
There's not a lot
it's not a
of
whole lot of
stuff.
construction going on right now.
Right.
So that's it, there, every now and then, the question of enforcement or violations comes up. And we respond as best we can.
Like the one just now,
With the mowing
someone
issue.
asked
Like
about
that, you know, we
neighbors mowing.
try to figure it out based on other available resources, like trying to figure out bits and pieces of site plans or aerial mapping. You know, that one's tricky, that one's tough because it was a very big, complicated project, and none of us were here when it was being parsed out. Not that I'm claiming my memory would do me anything, but clearly it would not.
Yeah, and then after that, it's whatever, if you like to take on a particular duty, like as secretary, it's, you know, it's a few extra hours a week, or a meeting, just filling up minutes or whatnot, but preparing for the meeting. For Jay, he does a lot of site visits, he's an enforcement guy, so he's go out there doing all the site visits, to make sure things are in compliance. You know, so it's different people, you know, Dan does the budget, right? You budget good?
He takes the budget.
Not a lot to do.
But also, with more people though, Dan could focus a lot more on the wetland stuff. We could actually get some regulations, you know, that would be excellent.
So we have, Dan and Chris are civil engineers. Ashley,
A civilian.
Civil most of the time, sometimes it gets a little.
Sometimes
yeah.
it's
well, you're a dam engineer at
That's
best.
right, I'm a dam engineer.
So, but really, it's just asking questions within the context of the Wetlands Protection Act and or our stormwater ordinance. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you were interested in, you know, the open space and trail type things and everything like that.
It's as much as you want to get involved, honestly, because
As
that's a
long
lot
as
of
you're
work to
willing to
do.
show for meetings.
Yeah, it's really the meetings.
That's really where we draw the line.
Yeah.
You don't show up for meetings, you get cranky.
Yeah.
But it's 2 nights a month.
Second and fourth Monday.
With a couple variations for holidays.
Yeah.
But, yeah, because if the city offices are closed, we don't have a meeting.
Yep.
But,
But it's not a very big lift. I mean, if the meetings are an hour to an hour and a half each, they're not very long.
site visits are
Half an hour.
half
per
an hour
site.
to an hour and a half,
Yeah.
depending on how many we do.
Yeah.
When we start getting a lot of permits in, like, it could happen in the next couple of weeks once people start planning out their projects for the spring, then more, yeah. In April, when people are trying to plan their projects for May.
Thank you.
You never know.
Yeah, right. Then it picks up, then there's more to like look at in between meetings and stuff, but it's not too bad, really.
And my professional career is wetland science and wetlands permitting, so in terms of the details of the regulations,
She's like Rain Man.
She's just not agree with the numbers.
She can actually like quotes. Yeah. Cite them word for word. It's amazing. It's really amazing. You know, she gets a thrill out of it. It's kind of fun to watch.
And other people I work with do too, so it's not just me, we found our happy place.
Yep. It's true. And it's regulations.
Says the engineer.
I know.
You were going to ask.
And what role does the conservation commission play with open space? Like what are the opportunities there?
Managing the land that we have already, which is a fair number of parcels that I can't recite off the top of my head.
I think 16 or
Less than 20, under 20, yeah, less than
There's
20.
the Echodale Farm piece between Park Hill Orchard and like Fields that we were just talking about.
The community garden is
And the
on
community gardens.
Echodale West. That was, and Echodale East is the farm that Rodney operates with some of those heritage breeds. So in the lower part of, do you know that area of town, Park Hill Road?
Yeah, I know where
So
Yeah,
the cattle grazing on the, if you're headed up the hill, there's a farm at the bottom. So there's supposed to be a maintained trail, mowed walking trail around Echodale East, and
Oh, really?
I'm fairly certain that doesn't happen because we
That'd
simply
be ideal
don't
for snowshoeing.
have. So then a personal interest kind
Could
of,
help that happen.
motivates.
I love snowshoeing. Do you like snowshoeing in here?
Oh, yeah.
Let's all go snowshoeing this winter.
I go
I
around.
have 2 pair.
Oh.
Let's do it.
You sound like
That's it.
That's right.
I don't know if you've been keeping up with Ashley much.
We will not
Do
keep
you
up with
snow
Ashley.
run? Really
She
more like?
does.
She's going to the World Snowshoeing Championships this year.
You seriously are?
She
Is that a thing?
seriously is.
Oh
On the
my God, I didn't know
national
that's a
team.
thing. Wow.
Did you buy your own shirt?
I can just
No,
see the
you're
amount of
ridiculous.
snow just flinging everywhere when you snow run.
It does.
Yeah.
Don't wear a hood.
Lesson 1.
I'm like
Okay.
a novice snowshoe
Me
runner,
too.
and I get
don't
like,
run.
so I wear like a fleece jacket, and I get snow just stuck all to the back of my
Wow.
clothes.
I'm fascinated by this.
You
I want to know more.
Definitely
We can
come
tell you
this
about
It's a
winter.
special
That's fun.
snowshoe though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But
it's
Not-
still heavy.
It is.
You've done some snowshoe racing. I've
Yeah.
seen you.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow,
it's a
that's-
small world.
And well, because there's races in Holly there from the CSA headquarters. And you know Jen Fowler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were familiar with some races too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, a couple of years I was in the points
That's a pretty big
running
deal.
anyway. It was in the top 100 or something
Maybe
like
had
that.
another kid.
Yeah. But,
I didn't know Macy's is actually a thing. That's amazing to me.
how have you been on the commission with me for that long?
I had no idea that I didn't know they were into snowshoe running.
So anyway,
I
there's
didn't
also the
even rock my
Hendrick
runner.
Street trails. Like there's Mountain Road that goes up, and then there's Hendrick Street, and there's some two parcels right between where all that microburst damage was below 141. That's our
Right, and
Got it right there as well.
the
They need some new
the-
trails marked.
Right, the trails over there were built, the single track mountain bike trails were built by the mountain bike enthusiasts in town, and they were built 10 years ago. And they've just, that group of volunteers has just started making them as single track trails, but.
And there's a bunch of other ones that we just don't have. And we just did an inventory of them. They don't even have parking. They don't have.
Right, they were open
So-
space set aside, so like developments, subdivisions are required to set aside certain amounts of open space. And unfortunately, there were no, this open space that got set aside was basically the undevelopable wetland areas. So,
you can't do
you know,
anything with them either,
you
right?
can't build on them, so they're now not paying taxes on land that they couldn't develop.
Right.
We couldn't even put a trail through there. Or did that wet?
Well, some of them that you and I looked at.
Yeah, you and I trail were all
Very wet, floodplain probably to those streams.
But some of them could be developed, and that might be something fun to, coordinate as well, is just to get some new trails.
I think Echodale West would be that's the one behind
Focus on the
the
ones
community
we actually
gardens
have.
on. And that's the one we were talking about, the north part of it that abuts Park Hill Orchard is abandoned, neglected apple orchard. And there, from time to time, is interest from somebody in the public about revitalizing it and managing it and just the bureaucratic red tape. Because we can't just, it's city land, so you can't just give that opportunity to someone. You have to put out an RFP,
Get
request for
bids.
proposals, and get, try to get public bids. It's a process.
Except you could back that envelope full of $100 bills that that guy gave.
And we hear ourselves. Talking to you, Joe.
So that would be great. And then what has happened. Life.
You should eat before you come.
Yeah, you should.
Yes,
You
you
should. It gets a little
should.
crazy
And
when
so
you get
should
too hungry.
Chris.
Yes, you should. I really should.
So the latest conservation acquisition is actually, it was a partnership with Pascomic Conservation Trust, who's the local land trust. And it was, Pascomic owns, there was city funding for it, help me, Manhan Meadow, down off Jillian Estates. So it's,
Yeah.
the city, the Conservation Commission holds the conservation restriction, the CR, but the PCT owns and manages the land. But basically the CR gives us authority over what they do.
So we approve it.
And they
Yeah,
put in
yeah.
trails
There's a
and
bunch of
stairs and
trails,
bridges
yeah.
and
Through
things
the
like
nice
that.
stuff, like Ranch Ave.
It's very nice.
No, I haven't.
Where was that?
It's
Maybe
Some
embarrassing.
ranch
It's
out.
really cool.
You haven't been there.
I was like,
No,
Yeah, nuts.
last winter, I was out there a ton.
The
but-
dedication,
Yeah, since,
it's off South
South
Street.
Street.
yeah.
So
I've been
South
to-
Street off
I'd like to go.
of Glendale.
Between Route 10 and, Glendale, yeah.
It's that little
Oranges.
Yeah. It's fun.
Where do you live? Not near where I live.
We should, yeah, let's don't do that too.
Kind of, like,
Be fun.
partially,
That would be
it's a
less
skinny
snowshoe friendly
piece.
because the trails,
Yeah,
the
it's
stairs.
Yeah.
I snowshoed them.
Did you? Yes,
I did.
here's Glendale, this one's
And I
south.
was broke my
That's
neck,
where the
but I
bike
did.
path, route
Yes,
passes
yeah,
the bike
okay.
path crosses down here, so
Yeah, I
anyway,
don't remember
ranches,
anything.
probably
I
this
snowshoed them
one.
with,
And so it's this funny skinny
With
piece.
child on shoulder.
with child and
Nice.
backpack. Hooped
They
up
put in
a
great
very
trails
wet
and stairs and
back.
stuff, because it
Or fell on the child?
No, I didn't. I
Oh.
just snowshoes.
And I think some of those totally
That's great.
unusable.
I can see
Well,
you
actually,
shot back at like, you felt it in the snow. Like,
This part.
What's the status of what part?
This part down here, because this is this is Ranch Ave, and these are this is the part that they put the trails in.
That's owned by the condos, and I think for whatever reason, it's not, it's in a weird place.
I don't know, we need Jessica for that.
Yeah, no.
Because we should, I mean, the trail just ends.
Right.
Yeah, so that's in the non-profit category.
And this is in the profit category?
No, public land
Yeah,
protected, but
I think it's like, I think it's owned by
It's
not public.
the
It's not
association,
public.
and it's not developable, but it's not public or something like that. Yeah,
So it's not public, yeah.
That's too bad.
but
So she
apparently,
go inside.
apparently there's Southampton, town of Southampton water supply land that keeps going, you know? It just keeps going. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know we need to focus on Easthampton, but it would be good to see how the stuff that borders with other communities
Could
connects
be connected,
with
yeah.
other efforts too.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to do a better job collaborating with PCT, because they're very active. And they've got great mapping or they have
PCT
mapping
is
period and
Do you know
it's just
PCT?
trails.
That's
Yeah.
conservation.
Yeah.
Do they own land in Southampton?
No, I think they're Easthampton only.
Yeah.
There.
I thought they were Northampton.
Are they Northampton? I don't know.
I thought they were more than just Easthampton, but maybe not.
Maybe not, I don't know.
I know Garrett, one of the,
Garrett's there.
yeah, one or two of the board people don't live in Easthampton, I thought.
Interesting.
But I mean, we, like on the Echodale West parcel, it was two of our members that really got interested in establishing those community gardens. So we, as a committee, made that happen back in the day when Peter and Laura.
And Laura.
Yeah.
And then Peter moved and Laura
She was too busy, I think.
dedicated to,
Yeah.
her interest in her
Yeah.
academic career.
Yeah,
Too much.
that was back before I had kids, before Melissa had kids, and so we could spend the time that it took to do stuff like that.
Actually up in Coleraine.
Oh my gosh,
It's 40 minutes. So it's not awesome.
Yeah.
that's a tough drive in the winter, can be.
It's actually
Is it
not
not
too bad
bad?
because it's 91 every 2 and then 10 minutes on, it's kind of 112-ish. It's not, part of it's 112. It's not really 112, but it looks like 112.
Is the, I don't know what to call it, artwork of the mountain lion, the silhouette, is that still there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right before you get to the school. Yeah.
Drive 112 north into Coleraine, and someone has installed this kind of metal silhouette-ish of a mountain lion, a catamount, on the rock face above the road.
Huh.
It looks like it's gonna pounce on the road. And so when you catch it out of the corner of your eye, because it's the right size.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why is this a difference?
Seriously, usually, yeah, especially going like 20 miles per hour when you're
You always-
Hopefully you notice it.
You're on the descent, so you better be. It's a long.
Yeah, that would be the one hairy spot if the roads were bad.
Mhm.
Right there.
Oh, great.
Not mine.
Cool. Okay, all right. So I guess if you're interested in the next step, there's an application form on the city's website, and you fill it out and you send it with a brief cover letter to the mayor, and then the mayor makes a recommendation to the appointment subcommittee.
She might call you and want to meet you.
She might. And I guess the only, I would ask that you emphasize your interest in trail work and how you talk to us and how we think that would be a great
Addition to.
Right.
Synergy.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it.
Oh.
Yeah, that word kind of dates you at this point.
It does,
Nobody
actually.
say that word
What's the
in,
new- what's the new
5
phrase?
years. I don't know.
I'll look it up in my
Stand those
business
to
books.
We don't use fancy phrases like that at Time
No.
Bond.
Oh, no, someone's big into the Let's stay out. Okay, so moving on, that would be a great next step. And then timing wise, it would just depend on when you submit it, when the mayor passes it along, if she passes it along. I can't imagine why she wouldn't. And then
It goes to city council.
it
and
goes to the
they
appointment
approve.
subcommittee, so whenever they meet. But I don't think we've ever had a candidate rejected.
No.
No.
Christ, I know
Um,
that
You do,
one.
I mean, pull your weight.
That's terrific with sarcasm.
He can't help himself.
This is the only person on earth that can say something sarcastic
I know.
and mean at the same time.
Oh, there's Jessica out.
No, we.
Okay, bye.
Did you say she will be back?
She will not be back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's so sorry.
What's
All right.
her role?
She's the city planner.
Okay.
And so she often attends meetings in,
Fields a lot of calls from,
one of the calls being, sorry, I didn't mention this, or one of the concerns being, there was an email apparently to the Conservation Commission, which is the third attempt to contact the commission. I don't recall any attempts, one or two, regarding the property at 38 Hannah Drive.
I was just, that's what, yeah. What's going on?
I replied to his email last Wednesday and haven't heard back, regardless of efforts to reach us or not. He has a hemlock hedge that he wants to replace with a fence by his property line. The pin is down at the bottom of the slope down to Hannah Brook. So this is all, Loudville Road, West Street. There's a labyrinth of neighborhood subdivision that got built back there. Yeah. And so PCT has that conservation land down along Hannah Brook. And it's a steep slope down to the stream. And I guess the tree that the property pin was set in blew over, fell over. And he
The pin is still in
has
the
a
tree.
question. The pin is still in the tree. It's up in the air. In order to build the fence, he needs to know where the property line is. And so the question was, can I just cut the tree? And the question back was, why do you need to cut the tree for a surveyor to reset the pin? Because the tree is across Hannah Brook,
It was
which
laying across the wall.
I'm imagining, I don't know. The pin's up in the air, I don't know why he needs to cut the tree to reset it. So it just opens up more questions, and we haven't heard back. So then there's stuff.
So we all get an email that says, does anybody remember?
Did anybody do a site visit?
Nope.
I don't
Nope.
remember.
Okay.
And the previous chair has, if we did a site visit, or she did a site visit, or spoke with this person, it was well over 2 years ago. And there's no documentation, there's no file, so we kind of get stuff like that where we're, we don't want to shrug, but kind of just have to move forward with it because we have.
Jessica's also the city liaison for the National Pond Promenade Park and all of the Pleasant Street Mills business with the utility lines and stuff. And so when we get to them for the updates, she often gives the updates.
Right. And because we have no Conservation Commission agent, she's the acting, essentially, without really being,
don't tell her.
that's not her role, but she
Acknowledged.
becomes that for us because,
So she follows
No,
up with different
it's-
people.
yeah, she's the person in the office
Yeah,
during the day.
it's right around.
We had
And in the evening.
We had the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission did a study for us about getting getting an agent or sharing an agent. We've learned, they surveyed like 14 towns or something. We're the lowest funded conservation commission of,
Right, so the whole plan was put together, we had the whole thing ready to go.
They were gonna
and the
request a
state-
grant funding to share with Southampton,
and
and then they
got
actually.
exciting for,
All the funding got.
About a week.
got exciting for a couple weeks there.
And
Yeah.
then now they have no money.
Yep. I mean, we have some money, some set aside
Yeah,
for
that-
open space, I think, but, you know, our annual budget's enough to pay membership dues, and that's about it, pretty much. So,
I'm just keeping all the comments inside.
I know, I'm hearing them vicariously. Subliminally.
I'm a retired person, so I have time during the day to drive around and see what's going on and check out places, so take the dog for a ride and just go on a field trip.
How's your property?
It's fine. It's kind of underwater in some places right now, but. it's
Any
good shape.
wildlife sightings?
I swear that I saw a mountain lion, but I can't prove it, so. But we had fox, bobcat about 8 weeks ago, just kind of walked through the backyard.
Nice.
Grabbed the dog, I had the dog.
Yeah, dogs are big.
No mountain lion tracks.
No mountain lion tracks that I could really see. Bear duties in the woods, and deer tracks. But coyote always
Yeah.
marks my bridge.
Really?
Go
Oh.
down to duty under the bridge.
You shall not pass.
Leverage.
Right at Main Street still. Yeah. But there's nothing behind you, but
It-
swamp,
are
the
you-
river.
It's a steep drop down
Like in
to
here?
floodplain.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, right across.
Nice.
Close to.
I think you have the nicest spot in town there.
I'm
It
pretty
is.
sure you
It's
do.
really, you know, for being in the middle of a city, it's like in the woods.
Yeah.
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 Got a fair amount of back there.
Mhm. But, you know, no one's ever down there, so it's impassable. Really, you can't really walk along the river.
Yeah.
It's just too overgrown. It's nice.
Alright, anything else? Do you have anything else you want to ask us, or?
I don't think so. It seems like that covers.
One little, the terms are 3 years, 2 years?
It doesn't matter, no one ever comes in and everything.
3.
I think it's 3.
I think it's 3.
I just have a letter, I have to go back in and research. And
And Barbara was telling me that there's new,
Conflict of interest stuff?
yes.
ethics.
Have y'all been told, she said, but you just do it when we get the new one in.
Okay.
You probably have to do that for being a teacher anyways, right? And that's conflict of interest.
Right, so you're a state
things.
employee anyway.
Yeah.
Ethics thing.
It's usually an online thing, and you can answer as many times as necessary to get it right.
Yes. I was not paying attention. I mean, yeah.
You know.
It's pretty common sense.
Yeah.
If you work for the company proposing the
Yeah.
project, you should.
Yeah, it's a
Not being-
People give me gifts.
I mean, I take this, because I sit on the opposite side of the table for work, I take a pretty hard stance on leaving the room.
Yeah.
You know, other towns, someone will just sit in the back knitting, or talk, or comment on it. I'm like, oh, no, this isn't right. But, so I'm pretty sensitive to that. But,
And then in between meetings, is there, there's emails that get circulated, is that
Yeah.
really the only?
Yeah.
And site visits?
we get most applications that come in, if they're really substantial, they're prepared by consultants, and they usually provide a PDF in addition to the hard copies. So those get distributed by email. And then usually the smaller ones prepared by homeowners are the planner, if she has the time, we scan them and email them. And that just kind of
It's easier for us to work
facilitates.
with electronic things than aircraft.
And then we have to file, we have to keep, we have to abide by the record keeping laws. So we have to maintain files, certain things in perpetuity unless the files go missing. Which has happened. Now we have logs. So,
It's true though.
it is true. Underwear?
Horse throat.
Should we adjourn?
Actually, not all.
Yeah, maybe we
Yes,
should.
so would anyone care to make the motion?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
I'll third the motion.
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Is that yours?